Welcome to another session of Parent University On Demand. Today, we're excited to have some exciting guests with us to help us tackle a question a lot of families have. How can I support my student as they transition into middle school? So let's jump right into it.
Hi, my name is Greg Dohman, and I serve as the Director of Sixth Grade Academies, an exciting new initiative in DCPS for the 2023-24 school year. Sixth grade academies are designed to shepherd and support students as they transition into middle school by providing personalized supports, maximizing teacher and family collaboration, and fostering a positive learning community in which all students have a sense of belonging. I was a middle school principal in DCPS for 6 years and spent a total of 13 years working with this age group, so I deeply understand the importance of a positive, supportive sixth grade experience. Let's talk more about this critical transition and how families can support their students as they enter middle school. Perhaps the most challenging part about the transition into middle school isn't the academic or organizational demands, it's the social landscape. Ask incoming sixth graders what they are worried about in middle school, and most will say something about making new friends and otherwise navigating peer relationships. An 11-year-old is at a vulnerable point developmentally in terms of their self-identity and the outsized importance of peer opinions. And this is compounded by the fact that we take them from their elementary school, where they may have been for 6, 7, or 8 years, and drop them into a completely foreign and intimidating setting. Encouraging your student to select good friends, get involved in activities, and avoid social media are great ways to support their social development at this critical time. Students typically enter middle school without the organizational or executive functioning skills they will need for sustained academic success. And while schools work to instill these habits, it's imperative that they are also taught and reinforced at home. Helping your student maintain an agenda or schedule, create systems for homework and studying, set goals and track their progress, and keep their book bags clean and organized will set them up for long-term success and independence. Middle schoolers often have low self-esteem, poor emotional regulation, and an overwhelming desire to be cool in the eyes of their peers. This combination leads many middle schoolers to be, well, kind of mean to their peers and mean to adults. If nothing else, focus on teaching your student to be kind, respectful, and empathetic to others, and always address instances when they are cruel, exclusionary, or judgmental. These are teachable moments, and you have to remind yourself that even when their negativity is directed at you, it's a part of their normal development. Focus on how their words and actions make others feel using I statements, and why it's important to put yourself in others' shoes.
Thank you for sharing all that information. It really takes you back to middle school. We have a couple of frequently asked questions from our families, so let's go ahead and tackle those. The first question is, what developmental resources are available, particularly around puberty or pre-puberty?
So there are several fantastic resources for families that outline the developmental traits of a typical 11-year-old and strategies to support their academic, social, and emotional development. My absolute favorite is the book Yardsticks by Chip Wood. It includes robust information and strategies related to developmental traits of children between the ages of 4 and 14, and there's a chapter on each of those ages with aligned strategies. Love that book, and you can get it on Amazon or other places for a pretty reasonable price. In terms of free resources, CASTLE is an organization that promotes the teaching of evidence-based SEL strategies at school and home. The CASTLE framework includes 5 social and emotional competencies that we would like to see any young person develop: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. The CASTLE website, CASTLE, C-A-S-E-L, includes a wealth of resources and information for schools and families. Additionally, there are some great articles and videos out there that outline tips for students and families as they enter middle schools, with a focus on executive functioning, social skills, and academic habits. So a Google search around those resources can go a long way as well.
Thank you for sharing those resources. Another question that came in is about contacting teachers. So the question says, my child went from having 3 or so teachers to now having 6 or more teachers. How do I prioritize who I talk to?
That is a great question, and it's one of the most common sources of anxiety families have as their student transitions into middle school. Many schools have an advisory model or a similar structure that provides families one kind of point person on staff that will build a strong relationship with you and your student and can answer a range of questions, as well as connect you with other teachers and staff members as needed. So find out if your school has an advisory model or a homeroom model or some model that provides you a primary point person for your questions. But you should also check your students' grades at least weekly on Aspen, which is our online grading system. All parents will get a login. All students will get their own separate login as well. Check Aspen every single week and reach out to specific teachers with questions. Make sure to review the staff communication policy at your school so you can select the best mode of outreach and be aware of response times from teachers. Teachers can't respond 24/7, but you should be able to get the information you need in a reasonable amount of time. So be proactive, make sure you have contact information for all teachers. But if you can go through one person with the bulk of your questions, that makes it a lot easier. So again, find out if your school has an advisory model.
Thank you so much for that information. And families, in the description box of this video, we'll also add the link to another video we have specifically on accessing Aspen and how to look up your students' assignments and grades. So you can see that in the description box. Our final question that we have here is, as a parent, what can I do to make sure that I am handling my own anxieties around my child's independence as they enter middle school?
So first and foremost, it's going to be okay. We all made this transition from elementary to middle school. We all figured it out. Some students figure it out at different points, but your student is going to be okay. It's important for children to be more independent and take on more responsibility as they enter middle school, but that doesn't mean that the role of the parent is any less important. Providing a thoughtful, gradual release of responsibility to your student is ideal, with examples being managing their homework, checking grades online, communicating with their teachers, and advocating for help. Do these with your students at first to model what it looks like, then gradually scale back your support as you see them getting the hang of it. But you should always be there to serve as a safety net, ready to increase your support if you see your students struggling unproductively. In my experience, allowing a student to fail repeatedly and thinking they will magically learn from their failure without support doesn't work really well at this age. So that gradual release is really important, but always being the safety net is equally important as well.
Thank you so much for that. So let's get ready to close out. We know that families are very busy, and we covered a lot of information today. What would be the most impactful actions families can take to support their child as they transition into middle school?
Be actively engaged in your students' learning in whatever ways you can. If you can attend school events, meet teachers face-to-face, make yourself a presence in the school building, that's great. But that's not realistic for everyone, and it's okay. You can be equally engaged by checking your students' grades weekly on Aspen, communicating with teachers via email, phone, or text, and having meaningful conversations with your student about what they are learning and how they are taking responsibility for their education. So again, find the way that you're going to engage, and you can help to ensure that your student will be successful.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being with us today. We truly appreciate your time. Families, please look at the description box to find the resources that Greg mentioned during this video, as well as that link to that video on accessing Aspen. Additionally, you'll find a link to a survey. Please take 2 minutes to answer the short survey. We want to know if this was useful to you, if you have any follow-up questions, and as always, you can reach us via social media platforms or via email, or put your question in the survey and we'll get back to you. Thank you, everyone.